The battle for Wakanda's soul ended in fire, and Black Panther's death shook the world. But when the royal tomb was opened, his body was gone. Somewhere in the sky, lightning struck backwards. Kal-El, Superman, opened his eyes in a body that was never his. His powers were fading, his memories shattered, but Wakanda called to him. Meanwhile, T'Challa's spirit was lost, trapped in a place beyond time. As Superman tries to honor a legacy he doesn't understand, enemies rise who know he doesn't belong. And deep beneath Mount Bashenga, something ancient stirs, and remembers Krypton. A crimson rift tore through the skies above Wakanda, a wound in reality itself. From the horizon, it pulsed like a heartbeat, releasing waves of unstable cosmic radiation that bent the air and twisted the earth. Scientists called it a Vibranium singularity. The elders called it a harbinger. At the center of the crisis stood King T'Challa, the Black Panther, silent and solemn in his obsidian armor. He had seen enemies before. He had faced gods, monsters, even his own kin. But this was different. The singularity wasn't an invader. It wasn't something to fight. It was a mistake, and somehow, it was Wakanda's to fix. Shuri's analysis had been grim. The rift had been triggered by the overmining of deep core vibranium beneath Mount Bashenga, its energy interacting with a pocket of latent cosmic radiation. Left unchecked, it would devour Wakanda, then the continent, then the world. Only one person could survive proximity to it long enough to close it. Someone with the durability of the heart-shaped herb and the kinetic absorption of the panther suit. And so, without ceremony or spectacle, T'Challa walked into the breach. He took no royal guard. He carried no final speech. Just a final look back at Shuri, Nakia, and the Dora Milaje. His sister begged him to let her find another way. But he knew time was short, and so he leapt into the light. The skies burned violet as the singularity fought to remain open. T'Challa's silhouette could be seen inside for mere moments, arms outstretched, channeling all he had into stabilizing the rift. And then, in a final burst of white heat and silence, it closed. The world was saved. But Wakanda was not whole. His funeral was the grandest in recorded history. Carried on shields of obsidian, his casket was adorned with starlight-threaded vibranium. Tribes wept. Leaders from across the globe bowed. Shuri stood motionless, face like stone. In the sacred tomb of kings, he was laid to rest. But the ancestors were restless. That night, seismic tremors rattled beneath the mountain. Vibranium veins glowed faintly for the first time since the rift closed. When guards returned to the burial chamber, the casket was open. And empty. No body. No signs of tampering. No traces of magic. Just a single black claw, lying in the dust, and a faint, alien hum coming from deep within the earth. He woke up gasping, not in the stars, but beneath stone. The air was thick with earth, ancient and heavy, laced with the scent of vibranium dust and the silence of a tomb. Kal-El, Superman, sat upright, choking on breath that wasn't his, in a body that moved differently, heavier, and yet alive with power. This wasn't Kansas. This wasn't Metropolis. This wasn't even his universe. He staggered toward a faint shaft of moonlight breaking through cracks in the ceiling. His reflection shimmered in a pool of still water. The face looking back wasn't his own. It was T'Challa's. Regal. Focused. Haunted. Kal-El reeled back, his fingers brushing over the sleek black armor clinging to him like a second skin, vibranium-lined, pulsing faintly with energy, and something else beneath it. Something alien. He had memories. Flashes. A dying star. A collapsing multiverse. An impossible choice. Then, darkness, and now this. Outside the tomb, sensors triggered. Wakandan sentries arrived within minutes, armed and alert. The man they saw stumbling out of the crypt wore the Black Panther's face, but moved like an outsider. When they surrounded him, he didn't fight back. He simply said one word, like it meant everything. "Where am I?" Alarms blared in the Golden City. Shuri was the first to respond. Her scanners confirmed what her eyes couldn't. The biosignature was T'Challa's, But the neural patterns? Completely foreign. Kryptonian, though no one on Earth 616 had words for such a thing. Superman, confused, vulnerable, and disoriented, was detained, but not harmed. Shuri demanded answers. He offered what fragments he could, his name, his world, the rift he'd tried to stabilize, and the sense that he hadn't survived it. His powers were flickering, fluctuating. Some days he could fly. Others, he couldn't lift a pebble. What disturbed Shuri most wasn't his story, it was what was missing. Chala was nowhere. Not in the Ancestral Plane. Not in any vibrational realm they could access. His spiritual signature had vanished. And yet, when Kal-El stood near the Vibranium mound at the city's heart, the metal resonated with him, as if it recognized something deeper than memory or name. As night fell, Kal-El looked to the stars again, but felt no comfort. He was a stranger in a borrowed body, in a kingdom of mourning. And far to the south, in a forgotten jungle, a sorceress smiled and whispered, "He's awake." Chala drifted through a realm without sky, without ground, without time, a space that felt like the pause between two heartbeats. The Ancestral Plane was supposed to be warm, filled with the voices of past kings. But this place, this was something else. A cold horizon of shifting shadows and faint echoes, as if creation itself had forgotten to finish it. He reached for Bast, for his father, for any familiar voice. None answered. Instead, he saw flickers, scenes like reflections on broken glass. A man wearing his face, moving with confusion and power. A foreign spirit trapped in his body. Chala realized the truth with a warrior's clarity. Someone had displaced him. Someone had taken his path back to the living world and replaced it with a stranger's. But even anger couldn't mask what he sensed beneath. The man wasn't an enemy. He carried grief, loss, and responsibility. A protector, even here. Yet that comfort was thin, for the void around him twisted again. A murmuring rose from the darkness, like wind passing over old bones. Then figures appeared, silhouettes of kings long gone, but distorted, blurred, as if viewed through water. "You do not belong here," one whispered. "Yet you cannot return," murmured another. Their faces were wrong. Their eyes were hollow. These were not the true ancestors, they were imitations. Someone was interfering with the cycle of life and death. Chala steadied himself. "Tell me who has done this." In response, the realm trembled. A tear opened before him, crimson light spilling through, echoing the singularity that had taken his life. And at its center, a silhouette of a woman with serpentine elegance and eyes like burning coals. Nyoka, a sorceress of ancient African lineage, exiled for forbidden arts. She should have been nothing but myth. But myth, Chala knew, had a way of clawing into reality. "Your kingdom has forgotten what sleeps beneath its mountains," she hissed. "So I have borrowed their king, and given them a champion from another world." Her laughter shook the void, cracking it like glass. "Let us see if your people prefer a god to a panther." Then she vanished, and the space around Chala sealed again, leaving him suspended, powerless, and burning with a new resolve. Meanwhile, in Wakanda, Kal-El jolted awake from the same vision, Nyoka's name still ringing in his mind. His powers flared briefly, violently, cracking the stone floor beneath him. Shuri watched with tightening suspicion. Two souls, two worlds, and one enemy binding them both. The stars over Wakanda dimmed as storm clouds churned unnaturally above the great mound. The people sensed it, not just weather, but a reckoning. Deep below, ancient vibranium veins pulsed like arteries, as if the mountain itself was remembering something buried too long. Kal-El stood in the Hall of Kings, surrounded by the statues of past Black Panthers, each carved in obsidian and reverence. Yet he felt unworthy beneath their gaze. The throne was empty. The country looked to him, some with hope, others with suspicion. Even Shuri, brilliant and torn, kept her distance. She had built him a new suit, a fusion of Kryptonian alloys and vibranium weave, but her trust had not come with it. "Then prove you belong," she told him, handing him the panther's mask. Face the trial of legacy. And so he entered the astral arena, a metaphysical crucible where Black Panthers confronted their deepest truths. But Kal-El was not Wakandan, and the plane shifted to reflect his burden. He was pulled into a collision of two histories, Krypton's destruction and Wakanda's ancient wars. The trial was merciless. He faced holograms of those he'd failed, his father Jor-El, his mother Lara, a young boy from Metropolis crushed during a battle he couldn't prevent. Then came T'Challa himself, not as an enemy, but as a judge. "You wear my face, Kal-El," the Echo said. "But do you carry my will?" Kal-El bowed his head. "I don't know. But I will protect your people as if they were mine." T'Challa's specter nodded. "Then rise. And fight." Outside, Nyoka had arrived. Cloaked in robes of flickering bone light, she strode into the Vibranium fields with an army of corrupted spirits, former kings resurrected as wraiths under her control. Her voice cracked the air. "Wakanda has no king. Only a stranger in stolen skin." The Dora Milaje engaged, but their weapons passed through Nyoka's summoned dead. Panic rose. The land itself began to fracture. Then Kal-El emerged, not in the traditional panther garb, but a hybrid suit glowing with celestial blue veins, a red sun emblem on its chest. He soared above the crowd, vibranium wings flaring open from his back, eyes blazing. "You want a god," he declared. "You'll face a protector." He landed with thunder. The battle for Wakanda, and for two legacies, had begun. The battle shook the foundations of Wakanda. Nyoka's Wraith army surged across the plains, their spectral blades cutting through vibranium defenses like paper. Spirits of corrupted kings, twisted echoes of once noble ancestors, moved with fury, their eyes burning with Nyoka's will. But above them all, Kal-El descended like judgment. Clad in the Vibranium Kryptonian hybrid armor, he struck like a meteor, tearing through Nyoka's phantoms with precision. Each blow radiated with a mix of solar fury and ancestral energy, his unstable Kryptonian power now harmonized with Wakanda's ancient tech. The ground responded to him. The sky parted. The suit, alive with intent, glowed like a star reborn. Yet for all his might, Nyoka was ready. She raised her staff, forged from bone and black stone, and unleashed the full fury of her magic. She bound Kal-El in ethereal chains, each forged from a fragment of the Ancestral Plane, voices screaming, trying to drag him into the void. "You are not the Panther," she hissed. "You are an echo. An accident." As Kal-El dropped to his knees, the chains tightening, a ripple passed through the earth, and then through the air, as if something beneath all existence exhaled. And then, light. A second figure stepped through the veil, barefoot, armored in golden twilight, eyes steady and fierce. T'Challa had returned. Freed by the clash of souls and Kal-El's presence in the ancestral realm, T'Challa had clawed his way back, not through magic, but through will. He stood side by side with Kal-El, not as rivals, but as brothers of burden. "She bound you with our past," T'Challa said, taking Kal's hand. "Let us remind her who we are." Together, they fought, one wielding celestial force, the other ancestral memory. Kal's blows shattered Nyoka's illusions. T'Challa's strikes severed her connection to the corrupted dead. Their unity broke the spell. In a final cry, Nyoka unleashed her essence in a blast of cursed flame, but T'Challa took the blow, protecting Kal-El, just as Kal had once saved Wakanda. The explosion faded into silence. She was gone. In the days that followed, Wakanda healed. T'Challa reclaimed his throne, his soul and body whole once more. But he bowed to Kal-El in public, calling him not an outsider, but an honorary Panther. Kal-El, knowing his time in this world was borrowed, prepared to return to his own. But he left the suit behind, embedded in Wakandan stone, glowing, waiting. For one day, when two worlds might need each other again.